So I'm very often asked, how did I get started in this business, in the jewelry business? I think it's a fantasy that a lot of women have to have their own jewelry store and wear the jewelry. I think we started as little girls dressing up and doing jewelry. So I didn't come at it exactly straight on and not intentionally. And how often do you hear that about where people end up in their lives? I used to be a management consultant. 25 years ago, I've traveled around the world and I did strategic planning and all kinds of business things with people. I got really burned out, and my husband and I decided to take a trip to Southeast Asia for 3 months. While we were in Southeast Asia, traveling around to Bali and to Australia and all around, all over the place, we ended up in Vietnam. And I had this special affinity for the women in Vietnam. I don't know what it was. It could have been that they worked so hard and yet at the same time took such good care of themselves and their children and their elderly people. This is a picture that I took one day on the streets back then. This is an older picture now, but this is the way I felt about these women. So I went to the Women's Union. As you know, it's a communist country, with my tour guide. This is a picture of her. This is Lan on the right here. Lan and I traveled with my husband and I all over the place. We got to be very close, almost like she was our daughter. She took us to the Women's Union and they said to me, help us buy a hospital, help us buy a school. And I'm like, no, I want to help these women. That was just my heart. I couldn't think any other thing other than helping the women. So they said, help us do business in America. And I said, okay, I do strategic planning and stuff like that. So it wasn't exactly what I'd planned. They took me to see this woman on the left. Her name is Han, and she lives in Hanoi, and I have been doing business with Han for 20 years now. I bought from Han on that day 14 strands of pink pearls, which were very similar to what these look like. Probably not this large, but this is what I bought. And she said, when you sell these, you let me know and we'll do more. So that's what I did. I came back to America and I started trying to figure out where in the world am I going to sell pearls. I hired a marketing firm called Blue Shoe Strategy, and I said, tell me what to do with pearls. Basically what they told me, most of the pearls in the United States are bought by young women in sororities. So there I began doing a wholesale sorority business, and Han, this woman in the picture, helped me. This is a picture of her and her family and with my husband. This is when we were there. We went twice a year to Vietnam to buy the pearls. We went to the Ha Long Bay, which is where the Mikimoto pearls are, and bought beautiful pearls. She would string and knot them herself, and some women squatting in a corner in her little shop. And then whenever I started selling the sorority ones, she had the little tiny, like Chi Omega and Alpha Phi, all those little charms made. She had no idea what a sorority was, in silver. And we attached them, and I did a wholesale business with pearls. Meanwhile, I'm working out of my home, right? And meanwhile, I started doing these like trunk shows where I would go around the United States to women's charity events and holiday events. I went to Tucson, and I went to Texas, and I went to Tennessee, and all over the place trying to sell pearls. Well, I met a woman, and this is what I think is the story that's the thread that goes through all of this. It's like I met a woman there named Susan, and Susan sold jewelry. This was in Houston at the Nutcracker, huge event. And I'm selling my little pearls in a 10 by 10 booth, and she said, Dolores, if you're really going to be in the jewelry business, you have to go to Thailand and go to the International Jewelry Show. And you have to see what jewelry is really all about, because there is such a plethora of amazing things out there, and you're selling these little 6mm pearls. So I did. I listened to her and I went to Thailand. And when I got to Thailand, it was in Bangkok, I was by myself, and I went to the International Jewelry Show. And first of all, I was smitten by Thailand in the first place. Look at this. This is just a woman on the street. I still have this Buddha that she anointed for me. And I again started to meet amazing women at the International Jewelry Show. This is a mother and her 2 daughters that I shopped with. You'll probably notice in each of these pictures my hair is a little bit different. So I was really feeling like I was starting to figure out what I wanted to do next. I started buying jewelry from them. This is one of the women that I bought jewelry from. Isn't she sweet? In fact, I bought everything she had here on this outfit, so I was a little bit weird back then. And then this is the woman I ended up, that she and I still make jewelry together. Her name is Aranya, and I've been doing business with her probably about 20 years. So I started buying jewelry in Bangkok, and then I started starting to have a lot of jewelry in my trunks in my house. So a friend of mine who was in real estate here in Coronado said there's a little place above Village Pizza. Yes, that's where I am today, 18 years ago. A little place for rent if you want to get all your jewelry out. So when I opened this little place above Village Pizza, the door was locked and it was by appointment only. And fortunately, there was a woman across the hall named Janice who was a facialist, and she said, you know, Dolores, all my women, when they come to get their facials, they all want to know what's across the hall, that the door's always locked. She said, this is a safe building, open your door. Well, that's sort of the end of that story, because that's what I did, and that's what I've been doing ever since. I was just like, it just keeps going and going. I've been to many other countries since then. I went to Kathmandu. Here's a picture of this woman on the right, is from Tibet. She was our tour guide in Kathmandu, where I bought jewelry. I've been to, of course, you know, India. I talk about India a lot. These are the pictures of them. I mean, I have 1,000 pictures from India because I still go there a lot. And then, one of my favorite places, as I know a lot of you have been too, is to go to Turkey. This woman and I have become very good friends in Turkey. I buy from her all the time. And you know, now that there's Skype and WhatsApp and FaceTime, it's really easy to shop with them because I have already this relationship with them. Look at these women. I think the thing that really, really makes this worthwhile for me is that it really is all about giving back. This isn't about just selling jewelry because women look pretty in it. It's about helping other women realize when they put something on that's handmade by women like this in another country, it's done with a lot of love and a lot of care. And so therefore, we do have a microloan program that we give back to these women all over the world. This is one of my favorites. This is in the Grand Bazaar in Istanbul. So the story then just keeps continuing and continuing. I don't know what's going to end up happening. You know, I'm 72 years old now, and I think, fortunately, I have amazing women that I'm sure some of you have met that work with me. But I think there is a blessing in all of this for all of us. It makes a woman feel good. There is a story about you can tell when a woman's coming out of depression when she asks for a lipstick. Well, I believe you can tell when a woman is a little depressed and she comes into our shop and she buys herself something that she loves. I believe that also is a part of getting out of depression, or not really depression, but you know what I mean. You just don't feel like you've had a good day. So not only do we give back financially to women in need and children, but there is a heart and a soul here. There's probably not a week that goes by in this little shop that someone doesn't share some significant story in their life, and often there are tears shed on both sides. So that's the story of how the Forsythe Jewelry began and tends to keep surviving. I don't know, it's just a miracle to me how this has all worked out for so long, and I can pay all my bills. So that's my story, and I would love to hear your story. I think all of us are on a path and a journey that we have no idea where it's going to end up. But I am so grateful to God, the higher power, that I've been given this journey because of the women that I've met along the way, as you, my customers, are.